Hi there, that's right, my name's Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time. Hi there, how the heck's it going? Now, I've recently been dipping into a book with a rather dubious looking title. And this is the kind of book which I would normally sort of like walk straight past if I saw it in a bookshop, explaining the unexplained. It sounds like it's written for people who are not very intelligent, or possibly written for people who have got certain key pet interests and haven't really thought long and hard enough about what they're talking about in real scientific ways. So I was feeling a bit skeptical about that until I saw the fact it was written by J Eyesenck and Sargent. Now, I don't know whether you know who these people are, but I want you to become familiar with them because they're pretty important names, okay? I've left links in the information box for the Wikipedia links to who they are and what they're about, and the fact that these aren't just some kind of weird New Ager. I've gone through a few little sections in the book. I know it's not the biggest book on the face of the planet, but on the other hand, I want to be able to make sure that, you know, I'm creating good videos for you and good content. So give me time and I'll try and work out which particular sections I want to focus in on, and the various points which have been raised there, and then possibly to interject my own opinions and views and so on and so forth. The first thing I'll do is point out that Eyesenck and Sargent have come out with a fair quantity of the personal experiences and some reported experiences that have happened through history. Alright, quite interesting, quite standard and run-of-the-mill for a book of this genre, I'm sure you'll agree. They also mention history of parapsychology, which apparently goes back to the 1930s and started out incredibly basically just with, of course, the card guessing games, presumably using like the ESP cards that we're all quite familiar with by this time in history, and a few other similar things. And there's also some interesting reported cases of people who had good scores when dealing with that particular variety of tests. And then they talk about the design of psi experiments, and this is actually expressed in quite an interesting and important way. Firstly, they talk about the exclusion of the conventional senses by whatever means is possible, isolation or the Gansfield stuff or white noise and all the rest of it, okay? Exclusion of fraud, elimination of problems of both memory and testimony. And finally, and this is what I think is very interesting, the use of suitable statistical tests to ascertain significance. So essentially, if you get the right number of statistically positive results in accordance with various statistical tables, then you're in a position to be able to make a form of claim. Now, the way that it was portrayed in the book is that once we've got the significant number of results, we have to consider that there is a high probability that psi or something similar to it, which is outside of science, does occur. So it's not a question of proof. The book also describes proof as being something which only works for formal logic and mathematics. And for something of this type, basically just like in the social sciences, we have to use the idea of probability. So the way that psychic phenomena has been investigated in the latter part of the 20th century, and presumably ever onwards by proper parapsychologists, is becoming much more of a what you would call a proper science, you know, a proper psychological science, a proper social science, which I thought was interesting. There's also a mention of other factors, and also the questions which are raised by these particular potential factors, such as the personality factor. What type of person is a person who can get the right quantity or quality of results, and how that influences the results in various different cases. So it's actually a little more of an interesting book than I thought it would be, and also because of the pedigree of the authors, I'm quite enjoying going through it bit by bit. I mean, I could just whip through the whole thing and just pick up the occasional facts here and there, but I don't think that's the quality of video you want from me. So I'm going to take it stage by stage, and we'll see how far we can go.